Greetings, Terratoffians! My name is Heather R. Hitchman, and I am a world builder, somebody who is creating their very own world filled with art and stories. My world is called Terratoff, and it's a paranormal fairy tale that combines the fun of fantasy creatures with paranormal activity and the supernatural. Many have asked me before, Heather, how did you get into world building? Well, today I'm going to answer that question. It is a tale that started long ago, back in merry old England, when I was just but a wee Heather. So I hope you like long stories. Sit back and relax and hear the tale of how I, Heather Hitchman, became a world builder. As I said, my story begins back in England where I was born. I've always loved art and stories, and my favorite story when I was a kid was Bambi. I was obsessed with that movie, and I must have watched it 100 times. Somebody bought me a sheet of Bambi stickers, and I made my own Bambi book by putting the little Bambi stickers in it and drawing environments for them to play in. And at dinner time, I would get up in front of my family and I would read the story aloud, only I couldn't write. So I would just memorize the story and rehearse it in front of them. And this was the beginning of my days as a bard. Still to this day, my love of stories with adorable creatures and sad endings lives on, and it is a huge inspiration still for my World of Terratoff. When I was about 9, we immigrated to the States, and believe it or not, I got picked on a lot. Not just because I was weird, but also because of my accent, which I no longer have, you might notice. You would think that an English accent would be really cool and you would not get picked on for that, but apparently it was just too weird. So I got teased a lot in school, and I felt kind of like an outcast. Then I read a book called Bridge to Terabithia, and I really related to the kids and their adventures in this world that they had created. So I created my own world, and I called it Terratoff, and this was my escape from all of the bullies and the awkwardness of young childhood. I started to create stories and my own characters to go into my world, and I started to have fun just creating and beginning to feel like I belonged somewhere for the first time. So I began conceptualizing Terratoff at a really young age and started coming up with stories and artwork long ago, even though it's changed a lot since then. This was a passion project that I worked on all through school, even in college, where I majored in animation because my big plan was I was going to make an animated series of Terratoff movies, and it was going to be my epic, like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. It wasn't until after graduation that I realized that one person cannot accomplish this goal. Also, the industry was really terrible and the recession was happening right when I graduated, so I was just having a really hard time getting anywhere. And I knew that Terratoff was something that I wanted to do, so I started to explore other avenues that I could pursue to make Terratoff come to life in some way. I started to like the idea of being an independent artist and creator, so I started to research what I could do to begin that process. I started out really slow, and I just made some really short stories, only a couple sentences long, along with very simple character artwork that would kind of give people a peek into my world. And when I shared these artworks online, they really blew up and got a lot of attention, way more than any artwork I'd ever made before, and I knew I was onto something. While I was sharing all of those short stories and little illustrations online, I was doing a lot more research and learning from the masters so that I too could create a flourishing world filled with lots of lore and inspiration from my own life. I took inspiration from all sorts of things during this time. Of course, the Lord of the Rings movies, Harry Potter was also really inspiring to me. One of the big things that inspires me right now especially is character and story-driven video games. I find that getting to play as the character and experience their relationships with other characters and their motivation really sucks me into the story. And through playing video games, I actually learned a lot about storytelling and what matters to me most of all. It was using my own personal experience to inform my decisions on what the characters were going to be going through, and to use what I've learned as just like a human and my own experiences as somebody that's immigrated to a foreign country and a kid that was picked on and didn't feel like they belonged. All of these things are kind of mushed in together in the story of Terratoff, and by using my own experience, I feel like I've created a really genuine story that people can relate to. I'm not afraid to take inspiration from stories of my childhood that caused me a lot of guilt and pain, like when I learned what death was, and when I accidentally hit my brother in the face with a baseball bat. All of these stories are included in Terratoff in some way, shape, or form. Because they are things that really happened to me, it really, I think, helps make the story feel genuine and creates that genuine connection with the person that's viewing it. All of these stories that are in Terratoff are somehow inspired by my real life experience. Whenever I go through something really difficult, I somehow create a story about it and put it in Terratoff. And not only does that create a genuine story that is deep and gets people engaged, but it also kind of helps me as a creator work through whatever I'm working through. Another really important lesson that I learned was to show and not tell. A lot of stories, books, movies, they try to explain things too much with words or in a way that's not very entertaining or engaging, because they want you to know all of this kind of insignificant lore that is too confusing or convoluted for the viewer to understand. I prefer when stories use all of that lore and information that they have used to build their world as a way to inform the design and the plot, rather than setting out a way to explain it all. Because that way, when the audience is looking at the world and they're experiencing it, they get a sense for all of these things that are going on around them just by the design and the look of the world, without having to have it explained to them in a boring way. So things like what the characters are wearing, what kind of flowers are in the world, what does the architecture look like? All of these things can be shown to your viewer just by making design decisions that reference what you are researching and the lore that inspired you, without having to sit there and explain it in a way that's going to lose your audience. Thanks to all of this research and development, as well as many years of practicing, drawing, and writing, I now have over 100 Terratoff stories and illustrations from my magical world. I take them on the road at conventions and share them online, and the World of Terratoff is growing exponentially. So who knows, someday there might even be a Terratoff movie, but for now I'm working on the books and Terratoff storytime videos that you can watch on my channel. So that is how I became a world builder. If you would like to follow along with my journey more, either because you love Terratoff or you want to be a world builder yourself, please subscribe to this channel and ring the bell so you'll get notifications to when I have some new content, and you can follow along with the journey and see Terratoff grow. All of my creations and this channel are brought to you by and dedicated to my patrons on Patreon, like Amaya Vega. If you would like to join us in the realm of Terratoff and become a Terratoffian yourself, check out patreon.com/Terratoff and make a pledge. Every dollar helps me to continue building this world. I hope to see you there. Ta-ta! This is the how I got into world building video, so be prepared to watch carefully and do some editing. If you might that was dramatic. And I am a world builder. That means that I am creating my own realm, because this one stinks. Heather, put lots of sliding pictures in this. Lots of video games. I have to show enough shoulders so that it's clear. Not naked. Okay, we got this. We're halfway there. We're almost there. You can do this, and then you get to go to Chili's. Okay. Posture. Posture, Heather. You are a proper English lady. Posture, posture, posture. You're a winner. You're a winner. You can do it. You can do it. You're a world builder yourself, and you want to learn. Bleh, bleh. Dedicated to my patrons, like I get to go have Chili's now. Oh, I get to go have some dinner. Yay. Goodbye.